All right, welcome in to Big Hitters Only, the first basketball pod of the season. I'm your host, Ross Martin, joined by producer Connor and reoccurring guest, David Ray Allen. First, off the top here, guys, make sure you check out roback.com. Use promo code BHO20 at checkout to get 20% off your order. Tons of awesome sweatshirts, hoodies. I mean, they got everything, pants, shorts, joggers. You can buy anything there, not just UNC gear, but their UNC licensed apparel is sick. I love their polos, especially, and their hoodies. I'm wearing one right now. This is a non-UNC one, so it's a little bit cheaper. It's a great polo. I wear these hoodies almost every day. All right, guys, we got D-Ray and we got Connor here. We're going to recap the last two exhibition games for UNC, the final two exhibition games. Connor, what's up, man? It's been a while.
Happy to be back on, Ross. Getting back in the groove of things. Basketball season coming up. On the football field, things aren't going too well. So I'm happy to get into a new sport.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm pumped. I mean, it's always exciting for a new team in basketball. And hey, football's playing a little bit better, so I'm a little bit more kind of getting into this team a little bit. They look pretty good. They're a bad team, but they've looked better against the competition they played the last two games. D-Ray, what's up, man?
Hey, how many episodes do I need to come on before a Roback hoodie just shows up on my front door?
Yeah.
What's the situation there?
That's what I'm saying. How many episodes do I have to edit and produce for one just shows up in the mail?
I'm a huge fan. I'm not even plugging because it's a sponsor. I'm just saying I'm trying to get some.
We'll see. I mean, Connor and graphics guy Garrett may be getting a Christmas gift here. We'll see. Hey, we've been selling a lot. So I mean, we're selling a lot. So I've been able to pay Connor and Garrett a little more regularly, and I mean, it hits because it's a great brand. They have great stuff, and people are willing to buy the UNC stuff. It's a great partnership, and 20% off. You can get all your Christmas gifts. You can buy a couple things for friends and family, and you get a significant discount. All right, let's get into it. 2025-26 Tar Heels. It's a completely new lineup. 2 returning players from last season, 3 total if you include Zayden High. We watched the BYU game. Me and D-Ray kind of rewatched it recently. And then we just watched Winston-Salem State today. I don't even know the score. It doesn't really matter. 95-3. UNC pulled away at the end. Kind of nailed a lot of threes there in the second half. We're going to do some segments. So let's just that's the way we'll do this episode. Kind of talking about what we see about this team so far. So let's start with this question that I texted y'all. All right. So what is your biggest concern with this team? What is the one thing that you are worried about right now with this team? Connor.
I'll go first here. Doesn't it feel like every great college basketball team has great guards? That's my number one concern with this team is just the shooting from the backcourt. I think Seth Trimble as a leader, as an attacker to the rim, I think he's great in that role. But it's really, you got to have knockdown shooters in the backcourt. Now, does it help that our stretch big man, Henry Vasar, yes, he can stretch the floor. Caleb Wilson can step out there, Stevenson. But it's really the guards. Who is going to step up and hit those big threes? Is it going to be Kyan Evans? Is it going to be somebody off the bench that we don't expect? Maybe a Jonathan Powell? I'm not sure, but that would be my number one concern if I had to cherry pick something through 2 exhibition games.
Yeah, Kyan Evans has been a little bit of disappointment so far. Look, 2 games in, we're not going to take, a lot from it, but I mean, he was paid a lot of money and we kind of had to get him in.
Be careful, Ross. We've got in trouble for dropping numbers on here before.
Yeah, but I don't really have much of a boss on this show. He was paid a lot to come to UNC and be the guy, kind of be the point guard. And so far, he's just kind of a role player. So I wonder how much he's going to be involved in the offense as a shooter and scorer. There's a valid concern.
He shot 45% from 3 at Colorado State last year, but he didn't take a ton. So I'm curious how that translates to this level, and I'm sure you guys know all too well. I'm a little emotionally scarred from the Justin Pierce, Christian Keeling. Like, look at his numbers at William and Mary and Charleston Southern, and you get to Carolina and lay a goose egg. So I'm a little hesitant, but we'll see what happens with
and one thing on Seth, D-Ray, I don't know if you noticed this at all, like, Seth is just again, a couple inches short. I feel like he never can finish at the rim on those intricate drives he does. Like, he gets to the rim, but then has trouble scoring over defenders there. We've had some sick dunks and everything, but he's not is he a knockdown shooter? 0 for 1 tonight. I mean, he's shown that he can hit threes, but can he hit them hit 2 or 3 threes a night? I'm not sure that's his role. But what he brings otherwise, I do like what Seth Trimble brings. But it's a great point, Connor. D-Ray, what is your biggest concern?
Yeah, I'll just add to Connor's that Evans and Trimble at 6'2" and 6'3", neither one of them actually feel 6'2" or 6'3" either, to me. Like, they're a little undersized, which kind of worries me. If you go look at Duke's, what their projected starting guards are, like 6'5" and 6'6", I'll go on the other end of the spectrum and just say I'm wondering, aside from when Vessar comes off the floor, who is going to play five? Are they going to ask too much of Caleb Wilson, who looks like the full package? And is he going to be asked to do too much by stretching and playing five? Because Zayden High looked okay tonight in the Winston-Salem State game, but James Brown had 3 horrible minutes against BYU, and I don't know what the answer is there. And so that's one thing that concerns me, and it was an issue last year because they started the year with Washington, and then they found Lubin, and then once they went with Lubin, it seemed like Washington couldn't get any rhythm at the five. So even if Henry plays 32 minutes, there's going to be 8 minutes of that game where you're going to need something from a five. And, Ross, you made fun of Joel James for his color commentating. Actually, you just said, "Who is this guy?" when you tweeted it out. But like, they kind of need somebody like that, right? Like, James Brown is not even really giving them Joel James quality of minutes at this point. They kind of need somebody who can just be serviceable at the five and not kill you, and that's one of my concerns.
Yeah, I think the lack of a backup five was a key concern in the BYU game. Kind of like, all right, maybe you should have paid Vidal and Lubin to be that backup five. He was asking a lot. It seems like he wanted to start. I think he'll start for State. Yeah, James Brown or Zayden High need to step up, but they're both kind of undersized, offensively inept.
They seem
players.
A little raw at times.
No shit.
Honestly. And the thing is, when Vesar inevitably gets in foul trouble in multiple games this year, it's going to happen. He's a center in college basketball. He's going to get in foul trouble in a few games. Which one of those guys is going to step in and play 15 to 18 minutes in some of those spots? Because through 2 exhibition games, I don't really feel that confident either one.
Yeah.
Now, something could change moving forward, but I think that's a big concern, and I had that written down as well.
And like, Jaren Stevenson has great size. I mean, he looks all of 6'10", 6'11", and he's great, but he's not a post, bully down low. Like, he's not gonna like bash the boards and rebound, defend. I wish he would. He has the size to be like a prominent big man. He just kind of trolls around the 3-point line and is more a finesse player. We'll talk about him more in depth because I really do like what Jaren Stevenson is bringing, but he doesn't seem like he can be a bully down low. And even Vesar, like, this is going to lead to mine. So my biggest concern is physicality. It was kind of my theme for the BYU game. Like, BYU, I think, out-physicaled UNC on defense, offense, rebounding, everything. They had that
Kiba Keita.
Yeah, Keita Keita guy, man. He's 6'9", 6'8", just jacked. And like, sometimes, not sometimes, almost all the times, if you're stronger, it doesn't matter how tall you are. You just box out a 7-footer. Like, Henry Vesar is light. He doesn't look like he's put on any weight since Arizona. Is that on the staff? Like, dude, I expected him to come in and look like he had been 25 pounds heavier thanks to Jonas, and he hasn't put on any weight. He's getting pushed around in the BYU game. He's not going to be able to hold his spot against any sort of like serviceable, strong, guy who can squat 500 type big man. And that's impact on offense and defense and rebounding. And that, I think, rebounding and defense is going to be a concern for this team for the whole season based on physicality. And D-Ray, you mentioned it, the size of your guards, that's another element. I mean, they're bigger than last year, but they're still going to be undersized a little bit, especially Kyan Evans. He's pretty slight. I'm not worried about Seth Trimble. He's 6'2", he plays 6'5". I feel like with his height and strength and jumping and everything. But physicality is my one concern. All right, next segment. I love the segments. All right, one question you want figured out by January. So November games, some slop games, some good games. You started getting in, I think there's a couple ACC games in December, but you still play non-conference. By January, February, it's like, all right, here we go, ACC slate. What is one question you want figured out about this team by January? It kind of bleeds into the biggest concerns, but try to answer it in a different way. D-Ray, you get the floor first here, big dog.
Well, what I had written down was the 2 things that we just talked about, but I'm going to pivot slightly, and I'll say this. One thing I like about this team is that it does feel like there are multiple guys who can go get a bucket. Like, which I don't think they had last year as much. Like, I think Caleb Wilson can get you a bucket, obviously. proven that. I think Seth can, and I think Vesar. I'm gonna screw it up. It doesn't matter that we talked about. I'm gonna screw it up
Let's
all
keep
night.
a tally.
I need to get some reps in. My question is, after that, which one of these three guards, whether it be Powell, Evans, Dixon, Young, which one of these guys is going to step up and be able to get you a bucket at the guard wing position?
Well, you hope it's Luka Bogovac if he gets cleared. That would be my answer. Is you hope a guy that's played professionally for that many years, averaged 15 points overseas like that. He's 22 years old. That's who I would turn to. It's like, hey, if you're doing like that professionally, come do it in college basketball. And, that's yet to be seen. That's the biggest unknown on this team. But that's what I would hope. But I think that's a valid question to bring up.
I think that's fair. And what I want to say, what I hope we don't do, is try to ride the hot hand every game. And it's be like, okay, 10 minutes in the game, I guess tonight's a Powell game or whatever it's going to be, because I'm hoping to see one of those guys step up and become a more focal point of the offense and be a reliable scorer. Tonight, Jaden Young hit 3 threes in a row, looked great. Powell, I thought, looked good, ran the ball in transition several times. So that's one question mark that I still have that by January I'd love to have answered.
So like a go-to scorer or a guy in the clutch who can step up and carry the team?
I'm just imagining Seth getting trapped, Vesar is in foul trouble, and Caleb Wilson's getting double teamed. Yeah. And I need one of those two guys for me to be like, okay, I know this guy can go get a bucket.
So Luka Bogovac, let's drop the scoop here. I posted it on Tar Heel 247, the new UNC site on the 24/7 Sports Network, my employer. So I did a little sourcing, a little intel here. The deal with Luka's eligibility, it's very complicated. There's a lot of different angles on this. So he is coming in as a junior, but the issue is he needs classes towards his major, and they don't know what those classes are based on like just these titles they're getting from whatever college he went to in Montenegro. So it's not necessarily like he needs hours, but not just hours. He needs hours in a certain field or certain like prerequisites essentially that fit UNC's criteria. So they're trying to get descriptions of these classes that they can like then, all right, this class equals, math 101. All right, this class equals English 101. This class fulfills your history requirement. So you can come in and enter your major or enter wherever you need to be with the required prereqs, I guess, or whatever you take your freshman year and sophomore year to get you into your major. That's the issue. So it seems like a communication issue between what UNC needs and whatever his university in Montenegro has or provides in terms of like class descriptions. Like, what did you really do in your 1 or 2 years? So I posted that in so many words on Taro 247's behind a paywall, but this is for BHO subscribers. This kind of intel you don't get anywhere else. Kind of scooped, some unique intel there that provided. Anyway, Connor, what is your one question you would answer by his team by January 1st, January 2nd?
One question that I want answered is, what is going to be the closing five? Who's going to close games for this team? And that's something that last year, I don't even think Hubert Davis knew. It took quite a few months for him to realize who that closing five was last year, because the 4 best players in last year's teams were guards. So that was a big problem last year. So this year, I just want there to be some sort of consistency, and maybe they figure it out in the first 2 months of the season. This is our closing five group. Hopefully Luka Bogovac is there in that closing five, and this is who we're going to roll with 5 minutes left in the game when it's tight in a conference game. That's the question I want answered. And then kind of part B of that is, who's going to be that primary ball handler at the point guard position? Something I already touched on.
Just like stealing mine.
Well, who's going to come down and set up the offense when you're down 4, the other team's on a 7-0 run, you're on the road, maybe you're up at Boston College, or you're across the country in Berkeley, and you're down 7 with 4 minutes left? Who's going to take command of that game, call a play, get you in your set? Hey, we need a good shot. Caleb Wilson, let's post you up on the block and take over. Like, who's going to be that ball handler? That's another big question I want answered. Sorry to steal your thunder, Ross.
I'm going to piggyback off that with mine just to move this along. I wonder who is going to be the primary ball handler? Who's going to be point guard? Is Derek Dixon going to be getting 20 minutes come January? And does Kyan Evans move off the ball? Is it a point guard by committee situation where Kyan Evans and Derek Dixon are playing fairly equivalent numbers, maybe playing together some as well? Does that move Seth Trimble to the 3 in some scenarios? And then secondly, I'll say this. it kind of goes to D-Ray's question, but like which role player becomes like your sixth man, seventh man? Like is Jonathan Powell like, all right, Jonathan Powell's getting 20 minutes per game. He is your like backup three, your like secondary, tertiary two, and the guy that nails threes, or is it Jaden Young? Or is it it seems like Jaren Stevenson's kind of established himself as a significant player, but like which role player is gonna be the man to be the kind of seventh guy, sixth guy? Because, Hubert's not gonna play more than 8, in most games that matter. So who is it? I think I like Jonathan Powell a lot. I think he looks the part. He has the height, and he's proven to be a shooter at the power forward level. So I like what he can bring. All right, moving along. Good stuff.
Do you guys think going off that, when Bogovac comes back, does he start at the 3 and Stevenson moves to the bench, or do they play like a bigger lineup and try Trimble and Bogovac in the backcourt with that extended front court we saw tonight? How do you guys see that shaking out?
I think it's to your question about can Trimble be the primary ball handler? Because if so, then yeah, I think Stevenson to me has looked like a dog. I mean, I love watching this guy defend. I mean, like it's hard for me to imagine. He looks like a primary defender of the opponent's best player. But yeah, I was just thinking when you're bringing this thing about point guards, when's the last time there's been this much uncertainty about that? You think about point guards in UNC's last 20 years. I mean, it's been the rock of the team in many ways. I'm trying to think of a year where we didn't have, just Davis to Kobe White to Joel Berry to,
Larry Drew year, anyone?
Yeah, probably the Larry Drew year. It really has been that long. So it's a UNC fans are not used to having a question mark at the point guard position for sure.
There's a lot of UNC fans that questioned Elliot Cadeau, but you knew what.
That's fair.
You knew it was going to be coming into the year. That's a different type of questioning, I think.
That's fair.
I mean, Luka Bogovac kind of changes the math there. I think you definitely bring him in, but he plays the 2 and the 3. So then you can move Trimble off, you can move Kyan Evans off, and then Stevenson come in at the 4 or the 5, and you go Caleb Wilson at the 4, Stevenson at the 5, vice versa. Bogovac at the 3. Vasar gets the rest. You can bring Vasar in and have Stevenson at the 4 and Wilson at the 3. I think Wilson and Stevenson provide so much versatility to this team, playing the 3 and the 4. I mean, Wilson's bringing the ball up after he rebounds it, and he is proven to be a killer in transition. So he can play anywhere, it seems like 3, 4, 5, and that's key for this team.
We're 17 minutes in, and we haven't talked about Caleb Wilson yet. He is the real deal. Like, the exhibition against BYU, and even tonight, it just seems like he comes in. He's not scared. He's a freshman, but he comes in and takes over the game. He has the most field goal attempts through both these games thus far. And I've just been impressed with his physicality and just how hard he plays. Honestly.
What I love is that UNC is playing him a lot and leaning on him and making him the man. I mean, he seems, I texted you all this kind of jokingly, but he's UNC's best player. I think that's pretty clear right now. After 2 exhibition games, that Caleb Wilson is the number 1 option, the best player. Now, I don't think he has the offensive polish to be considered like UNC's number 1 option, on set plays and things like that. But in terms of just like productivity, shots, how many times he touches the ball on each possession, and defense-wise, I think he's UNC's number 1 player. I mean, that's great. You need him to be a top 10 pick. He needs to be a top 10, top 5 pick. He needs to play 30 to 35 minutes a game. He needs to be featured on social media. He's got the New Balance deal. I mean, he needs to be a freaking star, leave after 1 year, lead this team to the Sweet 16, and then bounce and be a guy in the NBA for 15 years.
Well, there's so many freshmen recently for Carolina that have come in and kind of come off the bench, or you don't know where they're going to fit in the rotation, where it's like, hey, Nasir Little come in and be our 6th man, or hey, last year Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, 2 first-round picks, or Ian Jackson should be in the future. Drake Powell's a first-rounder this past year. They're coming off the bench. We don't know where they're going to fit in the rotation. So it's nice to see a true stud freshman come in and immediately be the man. I think that's going to pay off later in the year.
Yeah, I think the other big thing for Caleb is that he came into a team with 11 new players on it. So in some ways, it's easier for him to be the alpha. It's harder for Ian and Drake to have come into a team with RJ Davis on it and say, look, I'm the best player on this team. But, I mean, when you sent that text, Ross, I thought to myself, and the quicker that Hubert Davis figures that out, the better, like that he's the best player on the team, which I think he knows. I'm like, as you said, feature him. Let's run the offense. Let's see what this guy's got.
And what's going to help him even more is when if Luka is available and Kyans can hit threes, and Jaron Stevenson can hit threes. I mean, if they can just stand by the 3-point line and move around and let him kind of operate, let Caleb operate in the paint and slash and kind of do his thing down low, there's going to be so much space for him with his athleticism with those three shooters on the perimeter. And that kind of also proves true for Trimble, who thrives with open driving lanes and has the ability to take advantage of athleticism if there's not a double team and not two big men standing down low. What I love about Caleb Wilson is, I mean, he physically is just all there. He's so long. You just tell, even against BYU, like, he's athletic. He's one of the most athletic guys on the court. Plus the size at 6'10", 6'11", long arms. I mean, he's just young, fresh legs. The mentality's there. Like, he's going to make some mistakes, but, like, I mean, he just has kind of the moves. And it seems like the buy-in is there from a Carolina perspective of, like, being a good dude, wanting to defend, rebound, score, but also, like, kind of, like, being a part of the team in a way. I don't know. You kind of see it on social media and things. So, love it. I mean, that's exactly what you need. I mean, you pay for him, too. I mean, he's got a...
Yeah.
He was an expensive guy to get, but, hey, it's worth it if he brings the attention UNC needs, and then if he becomes an NBA player, it's worth it to pay for these guys if they become. That's what Duke's been doing for 15 years now. A lot of Duke mentions here. I mean, Duke is just
rent free, Ross.
No. Dude, I mean, it's just I follow this recruiting stuff, and it's just crazy. All right, next segment here. The player you're most excited about. This might have some overlap. Let's go quickly through this. The player you're most excited about. D-Ray. Maybe an outside choice. Maybe a different player we haven't talked about. Or just do where your heart leads you.
Oh, well, I almost wanted to ask you if you knew who it was, just based on the type of player that I like. But it is Stevenson. I mean, for me, it's just like, that's my favorite type of player at the college level, at the NBA level. I love guys who can switch on defense, guard anybody on the floor, who can shoot threes. The one thing that I saw in the UNC BYU game that worried me with Stevenson, 5 turnovers. And it felt like he was getting put in a position that he shouldn't have been in. He had the ball and was trying to play make like a little too much in the UNC BYU game. He looked a lot better tonight. And I think if you go back and look at the last 6-7 years of the wings on UNC, starting with Nas and B-Rob, Kerwin, Puff, Pete Nance, Dontrez Styles, like, there have been so many guys who, like, haven't been able to take that step to be a lockdown 3-and-D guy until last year with Drake Powell. And so I'm excited to have this type of player on the team. It feels like it's been a while since we've had a guy who we could potentially trust to play 32 minutes a night, have 4 steals and blocks in a game potentially, like, change the outcome with his defense, and then be a reliable 3-point shooter.
He wears both those shooting sleeves. Kind of makes him look longer and maybe bulkier. Yeah,
it's bizarre. Yeah.
I would not compare Stevenson to Powell, but I think Powell is like what I hate that we didn't play him enough early on. Stevenson's a lot bigger, but yeah, the 3-point shooting is there. And look, I love the experience too. 2 years at Alabama, so it's 2 years playing against tough competition. So not gonna be intimidated by any situation. He's seen everything. Been in the tournament twice now, and the shooting is translating. And I don't think UNC's had a player like him with his size who can shoot like that. When's the last guy that was that tall that could shoot like that? Marvin Williams, Jawad Williams, Manic. Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Manic, you know. I think he'll get beat defensively a little bit, but if he makes up for it offensively, it doesn't matter. Connor, who is the player you're most excited about?
Real quick, last comment on Stevenson, because I got to get this out there. 6'10", can guard the wing, switch everything. He can switch on the center and hold up. And you just look at the potential starting 5 or closing group for this Carolina team. We're looking at maybe Seth Trimble 6'3", Bogovac 6'6", and you've got 6'10", 7 foot on the front line. Yes, there's some physicality issues, but doesn't that make you guys feel a lot better than playing Seth Trimble at the 4? Just that line. Like, that actually sounds like a legitimate, good college basketball competitive starting 5. But with Stevenson, shot 31% last year over his 2 years at Alabama from 3. Seems like he's going to improve that this year. Can he at least just be respectable from the corner and have that open space and clear that lane out for Seth Trimble, for Caleb Wilson? If he can play defense, hit timely threes like that off a swing pass, I think he's going to fit in great. And I've loved what I've seen from him over these first 2 games.
The best Hubert teams have had a 4 who can hit that corner 3, can hit that open 3. Manic, Harrison Ingram, those have been the best teams.
Supposed to be Pete Nance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Pete Nance, which is a deep pull there, who's actually in the NBA right now. I think he's
He's
on a
still-
roster
I
in
think
the
he's a
NBA.
Cleveland Cavalier. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
It's
he's on
bizarre.
the 15-man roster. He does kind of remind me of that, like a little bit unathletic, a little bit slow, but supposed to hit threes, but seems like Stevenson can actually hit threes. And I
You've
love
been
the
re-
experience at Alabama. Like, that's what this team needed, is like a couple players who have played college basketball. Jonathan Powell, and then Stevenson, along with obviously Seth Trimble and Vasar. But you can get transfers in, but you need that experience and leadership, and hopefully those guys are bringing that. Connor, one more player.
Well, I'm excited to not hear any more about Stevenson whenever we play Alabama, inevitably every year. And they're like, this is a Chapel Hill local
The
guy.
Pittsburgh
He was
native, yeah.
stolen right from Carolina's nose in the recruiting battle.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Now he's where he belongs.
Actually, this is a big issue for me. Like, I hate when players like that go elsewhere. Like, UNC recruited him. Like, it's such bullshit. Like, you have UNC, top 3 program ever.
Didn't his
Like,
parents go there or something like that?
No-brainer. Powell's parents went there. I'm not sure if Stevenson's did. But he visits so many times. I mean, he's 20 minutes away in Pittsburgh. Like, it's such bullshit when they go elsewhere. Like, stop. Like, go to UNC. Like, you're going to be, if you go to UNC and you're a 4-year player, you're never going to have to buy a drink again in Chapel Hill. Like, it's so dumb. Like, look at Marcus Skinner. Marcus Skinner, but also I was thinking of Theo Pinson. Like, Theo Pinson's like a legend. He's doing podcasts. He's the man. Everybody loves him because he's a Greensboro guy, went to UNC, won a national championship, played 4 years, stayed there. Same with Joel Berry. But, like, if you're in the backyard, like, go to UNC if you're good enough to go there. Connor, what is your player you're most excited about?
So I had Stevenson at first. I'll pivot here and do somebody we haven't talked about a ton. I think Henry Vasar is going to make a big difference at the 5. I think that's the player I'm probably most excited to watch. His ability to actually stretch the floor and on some of those pick and rolls, like that high-low game we watched a lot of tonight, he was really, really good in that. And that's something I'm excited to watch this year. And yes, there's some issues with the physicality. He might get pushed around a little bit, but I do think he's going to have some big moments for this team, and his ability to at least have, opposing centers guard him outside the three-point line, I think is going to do wonders for this team. So that's going to be my backup option here for this question.
Yeah, I mean, Vasar's got to be huge. Saw the trailing 3 today. It's
I
keyed
could see
into him.
a little MF or two, and maybe a little attitude. I could see that coming into play later this year.
I'm just disappointed how skinny he looks. D-Ray, what'd you think about Vasar?
Is it because he's pale too? Does that also play into it? Ross, don't lie. He's a little pale, a little skinny.
I just think, like, he looks the part. He has all the things. But, like, I don't think he'll hold up in the NBA with how skinny he is. So, like, I was just hoping he'd be, like, so maybe he stays another year at UNC. Like, the potential's there. If we get him for a second year at UNC, like, that's going to be massive. D-Ray, anything on that?
Six offensive rebounds in the game against BYU, which you love to see. But in general, like, Caleb Wilson has been attacking the rim, double-digit rebounds in both games. So I just want to see Henry also clean up the glass. I want to see him be a double-double guy every night.
Yeah, rebound's huge, man. Like, Hubert always preaches it, and that is the thing. The Roy Williams teams were, like, always top 5 in the nation in rebounding. And because he always recruited big men, and that's, like, what he preached. And, there's different strategies to how you rebound. It's like, how many people do you send to the defensive boards? How many do you send to the offensive boards? Like, rebounding's, it's a effort thing, but it's also strategic in kind of how you approach it, how you practice it. And it goes back to my concern about physicality. Like, I'm not sure which player is going to be a rebounding dog on this team. Like, we know Seth Trimble could get in there, but it's probably Wilson. I think Wilson will probably lead the team on rebounds just because of how active he is. But you need Vasar to be a beast down there. But it is nice to see a 7-footer. All right, my player that I'm most excited about. Dude, I'll go Derek Dixon. I think I've seen a lot from him, and I'm really excited about what he can be this year, but also in years to come, because he seems like a guy that can run the team. He's got great positional size. Looks confident, looks in control. Does not look like a freshman out there. Like, he's not going to get as many chances offensively. Like, he's not going to be. He's on the court. He's probably the 4th or 5th option. But a big time recruit, top 50 guy that crushed it in the DC High School League. And I'm excited about what he can become and what he can add to this team this year. He looks just super in control. Kind of looks like a big NBA point guard that, like, uses his body rather than his speed to control the pace of the offensive game.
I think that's a good one.
I hope we can I hope he's a guy that's the starting point guard next year.
Yep.
Starting point guard the year after that, and then he gets drafted in the second round after his senior year, and then he's like a Marcus Page type, Joel Berry type, UNC 4-year player that's just like super consistent every year. Okay, I don't know if we need to do that last question. Last question was, who's your sleeper, biggest surprise? I think we talked about every player. Let's look through the schedule real quick. I have to open up a new browser because Go Heels doesn't work on for some reason, doesn't work on my other browser. Central Arkansas on Monday, and then Kansas on Friday. Like, we were into it. So next week is 2 games, and the season starts. I think it's a good time to talk about Connor. You had a good question that you added to the thing here, and it's going to be a question that we've talked about before already in this podcast, and that we'll talk about throughout the season. What does Hubert Davis need to do this season to keep his job? He's on the hot seat. He's on the warm seat. D-Ray, I'm not really sure your take on Hubert in this kind of iteration of UNC basketball, but what do you want to see from this team that gets you excited about Hubert Davis as UNC's head coach?
Do you guys remember a few years ago when Kenny Smith told the story about Coach Dean Smith sending Bill Guthridge to, I believe it was Senegal, to learn about the cultural differences between I can't remember the guy's name. You guys remember that story?
I've heard this, yes.
Yeah, Hubert Davis needs to send somebody, it seems like, to Montenegro to figure out what classes Luka Bogavac was. That's step one. If he
Learn
was
about the school system. Yeah.
Dude, that's so right. Why not send 2 academic officials and a UNC basketball representative on a direct flight to Montenegro to go to the college and be like, all right, who would we talk to figure out what these classes were?
You know who would do this? Is Mike Lombardi. He loves traveling overseas. He could be the guy to go to Montenegro. He's already boots on the ground ambassador for Carolina.
I just wonder what the holdup is. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think it's that. Well, I'm going to oversimplify this because I was going to say I think it's really simple. I think it is a season where UNC is not on the bubble, is firmly in the tournament, and there's not a season long question of, is this a tournament team? That's what I would say. There's no way that they're firing Hubert Davis if UNC is a 6 seed and they lose in the second round of the tournament. That was
what I was going to ask. So you think, 4, 5, or 6 seed, they're out, second game of the tournament, we're fine. It's all golden over here.
I think that the reason people have been freaking out has been because it's been multiple seasons in a row of being like, is UNC even going to make the NCAA tournament? I think if they are firmly a tournament team, it will prolong Hubert Davis's tenure. And maybe I am oversimplifying that, but I do think that is kind of the central tension with the UNC fan base and Hubert. Although that's me. Again, like we're going to find reasons to dislike head coaches. It doesn't matter who it is.
That's a nice guy, D-Ray. So I think the issue here is, like, I don't know if making it to the round of 32 is enough. I think they'd be super pissed if they're like a top 5 seed to get bounced after the second game of the tournament. So you're like a top 5 seed, you win your first game, you're in the round of 32, and you get bounced by, you know how it is. It's always like Iowa State or
Colorado
like
State,
Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those kind of Ram teams that gets hot. So that's the big question, and it's deeper than this because they are supporting Hubert. Everybody, UNC administration wants Hubert to succeed. Carolina guy, first African American coach. They got him a general manager. It's a very expensive general manager who seemingly is doing a decent job in terms of transfer portal based on this roster, and will have a full season next year to kind of really lock in to the recruiting strategy and the transfer portal strategy. Not going so well in the recruiting front right now. There's been multiple official visits, and no one's committed, and they're kind of down to like 1 or 2 guys, and they don't seem to be leading for any of those guys. But hey, recruiting doesn't matter as much because you can always just pick and pluck from the transfer portal. Anyway, they want Hubert to succeed. So that's why I think when D-Ray, your take on like, all right, getting to the tournament and not being on the bubble may be enough. I think that's realistic. I think they need to be like be that top 3 or 4 team in the ACC. ACC is going to be a very tough conference. Louisville, Duke, I think will be there. State will be good. There's obviously going to be a couple other teams that are going to be in there in that top 5. But this roster should be a top 3 ACC team. And this is, I hate talking this way, because UNC should never be anything but a top 2 team in the ACC. Like, and we should never be anything but like a top three seed in the NCAA tournament. Like, it's just a joke to be like, the standards have gone down, and that's sad.
We're the new Indiana. That's what I hear now. Carolina's the new Indiana.
Yeah, the new UCLA. So I
Yeah.
think it's top 3 in the ACC, and then I think it's like a top 3 seed in the tournament, top 3 or 4 seed in the tournament, and then like I think Sweet 16 is like the minimum, but it's like hard to like put a black and white thing on that. Like, all right, you lose 32, you're fired. So it's not gonna come down to that. I think it's gonna be like, all right, this team is good. They're a good team. They're winning multiple games in the ACC season. They're dominating teams they should dominate. They're not losing teams they shouldn't, and they're like competitive against Duke. David, go ahead.
No, that's exact. I was literally wanted to interrupt you to say beat bad teams. Like that is the other thing. Like just go win games that you should win, and don't like. It felt like that has been a recurring problem the past couple of years. It's just like not like they're playing with their food a lot of times. So just go win the games you should win.
The second half of a game, you shouldn't be tied with Monmouth or whoever. Yeah,
Shouldn't be struggling against Winston-Salem State in the first half. No, I mean, I've mentioned this a bunch. I'm older than y'all, but dude, when I was in school, I got the 2005 national championship team my freshman year, and I had 3 years of Hansborough. And like, dude, every ACC game outside of like Duke and Wake Forest, some other teams, it was 20-point games. It was just domination. And like the intimidation of UNC, like that's what I hope that UNC gets back to, where it's just like a dominating, intimidating team where like you don't question these games against like sloppy Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. Like the funds UNC has now, we should not be losing to. Like the separation is getting bigger and bigger because we can support basketball more than Virginia Tech or Boston College or SMU, Cal, Stanford. Like there should be an extreme talent differential. So that's why coaching, it's all there for you, Hubert. It's all coaching and in-season development to get these players where they need to be so they are dominating teams. Connor, you got anything on that?
Yeah, we get it, Ross. You had Hansbrough in a national title team. You know what I had? Andrew Platek. So let's all just pump the brakes there. No. On a serious note, I think you guys are right. Win the games you're supposed to win. And the ACC is always tough. There's going to be a couple teams that are dark horses that we don't expect to be good that compete in this conference. But as of right now, there's only 3 teams in the top 25 preseason. Duke, Louisville, and then Carolina snuck in at 25. NC State's right there at, quote, 26 right below us. Yeah. And so, yes, it's going to be a tough conference, but it's also wide open for the taking. I think this Carolina team has to be top 2 or 3, win the games you're supposed to win, and then be competitive against Kansas, against Michigan State, Kentucky, some of the tougher games on the schedule. Just beat Carolina basketball and beat the teams you're supposed to beat and just flex your muscles. You shouldn't be losing on a random Tuesday night to Boston College.
Yeah. I think we'll end it there. This is my plan, Connor. Connor's the producer, so a lot of us relies on Connor. But I think I want to do at least one show a week during the season, probably after the weeknight game that will recap, the weekend game and the weeknight game. So we'll hopefully get one show out a week, maybe 2, depending on news, and with football coming in here as well. So that's the plan here. Guys, the more you buy Roback stuff with BHO20 as a promo code, it helps us a lot. And then, of course, Drink New Grav with Delta Spirits, THC-based beverage. That promo code still works here. It's BHO10, Drink New Grav. They had to rebrand because they got a cease and desist letter from another Delta Spirits company. But delicious. Alcohol, I mean, I'm trying to move away from alcohol as much as I can. This stuff, split a bottle, split a can with your partner, your wife, your fiance, your girlfriend. It can get you in a great mood after work. Sit and watch a show. It's a fun night. So we're definitely moving to more of those stuff here in the Martin household with the wedding, 6 months away. D-Ray, Connor, football takes. Let's get anything. Let's get like 1 or 2 lines on football. I'm kind of back in. I'm like, after that crazy week we had, crazy 2 weeks with the Belichick stuff. 2 good games I was locked into. Going to the Stanford game. Got Syracuse this Friday night on Halloween night in the Carrier Dome. How are we feeling, D-Ray?
I love watching Drake May throw a football. It's a lot of fun. It looks like seeing he looks like he's throwing like a Nerf football sometimes. It's like he steps up in the pocket and it's just so beautiful. That's what I've been paying attention to.
Yeah, he's Drake May.
Surely they won the ACC with him, right?
Of course, right?
They have.
Drake May is awesome. I am super locked into as well. It's all I consume all of the Drake May content.
Is there
no
a teleportation
comment on UNC
field
football.
on the touchdown on the goal line whenever Carolina players cross it. They just like want to drop the ball or fumble it out of the back of the end zone. It seems like every time they cross the goal line, something bad happens.
I mean, that's back-to-back games with goal line
Unreal.
turnovers.
But yeah, overall, moving in the right direction.
What's y'all's decision on going for 2 on the first overtime to win the game at home?
It's a no for me. I'm kicking the extra point. I know that's. I think I'm in the minority. I think the math tells you like if you're a good team and you have a chance to win a game and you can't win it from the 3-yard line, then you don't deserve to win the game. I think UNC is not a good team. I would have kicked the extra point and hope for the best. But again, that's hindsight 2020. So
my thought, and I talked to somebody over the weekend about this on like Sunday. If you're the worst team, and I think UNC was like, all right, we're not as good as Virginia. You try to steal the game by doing that because you know that as longer this game goes, the odds of you winning are less and less because you're not the better team. Is that kind of like the psychology there? Like,
yes.
If we have a chance to win it, we got it. This might be our best shot because the more times, the more data points you have to try to win the game, the less chance you have to win it. I don't know. At home, as the underdog, I don't hate the call. I'm just interested. I don't really know the psychology and the statistics behind it, but
my opinion would be, if you're Carolina, how much longer is that defense going to hold up? Virginia's the 16th ranked team in the country with a guns blazing offense coming into this season. How much longer is that defense going to hold up? And I don't have a problem with the decision. It gives me shades of the Clemson game a few years ago when Trevor Lawrence was there and they went for 2 and tried to save the game. Yeah, I was at that game. Boots on the ground. I loved the decision. Back then, it was a bad play call. I didn't love the play call last week against Virginia either. Like, if you're making Gio Lopez make a decision with the game on the line, I'm not going to be that big of a fan of it, to be completely honest. Imagine being the guy that cut that NIL check. But overall, I like the decision. So,
the defense played great against Virginia. Like, I was very encouraged. They looked awesome.
Stood up.
So I'm more encouraged. The ACC sucks, man. So it's like
you're back in.
I'm a little bit more back in. Like, I was locked in. I was just crushing light beer by myself watching that game on Saturday. Like,
performance.
Just trying to find a buzz drinking like 3.1% Miller Lights. All right, guys, this is a fun show. Awesome. This might be the regular lineup here. We'll get Mike Hardison in a couple times, but D-Ray is a great addition. And we got producer Connor here. Guys, BHO20 on all Roback stuff. Dude, I would go get your Christmas gifts now. Get your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, your sister, your brother, your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife a Roback sweatshirt or shorts or anything. It's awesome stuff. The new sweatshirts look awesome. There's a different sweatshirt out there on the website, so check out Roback.
I'll throw that design in.
Roback.com. They released a new sweatshirt with some pretty hot models on there as well, male and female. We don't discriminate here with hotness.
There you go.
All right, big hitters only. D-Ray, Connor, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next time on BHO.